Most AI code reviewers see the diff and nothing else. They don't know your team's standards, your tools, or the systems where your real context lives. Let's look at how Copilot Code Review uses Microsoft's official documentation, applies a team review checklist, and catches issues that go beyond the diff, all on a single pull request. This repository contains a web app with a Flask backend and an Astro frontend. Let's see how Copilot Code Review handles it when it has access to more than just the code changes. Let's start with the PR, a new adoption endpoint on the Flask backend and an adopt button on the Astro frontend. While it's just a small change and it looks routine, but there are several issues worth catching before it ships. Before the review runs, let's look at the context Copilot has access to. The team configured the Microsoft Docs MCP server in the repo settings, the same doc site where Microsoft publishes REST API design guidelines. Over in the code review settings, the team has enabled MCP tools and added custom instructions. This is where the platform team controls which context sources the reviewer can use. The team's own review checklist lives inside the repository under the .github/skills as a regular markdown file. This file shows that it has two rules. New endpoints need a test, and error responses must follow Microsoft's documented error envelope. Because the skill is version controlled with the code, every PR picks it up automatically, which means changes to the checklist go through the same review process as the rest of the code base. Going back to the PR, we assign Copilot as a reviewer. A few seconds later, the review lands, and Copilot is already flagging an issue in the diff. But the more interesting view is the Copilot session log. Here we can see Copilot pulling in the context the team configured. The Microsoft Docs MCP server loads, and this is where the team review checklist skill will load. Then we see the tools called Copilot runs against the code as it reasons through the review. This is where external context stops being just a setting and becomes part of the actual review pass. Now we're looking at the files changed. Copilot has surfaced multiple findings. These comments don't currently carry attribution badges, but the content tells us where the context came from. The first one is on the error response. The comment references Microsoft's documented error envelope, a code, a message, and a target. That language is not coming from the diff. It comes from the Microsoft Docs MCP server that we configured earlier. Now we can see the endpoint here with no test. This comment maps directly to a rule in the team review checklist skill, the markdown file we saw committed in that repository. Now, even without a badge, the wording lines up with what the team defined. Copilot was able to surface several findings from different sources all in one review pass, and the difference is visible in the text of each comment, one pull request, and multiple useful findings. While some of these findings are grounded in Microsoft's published documentation, some are driven by the team's own checklist in the repo, and then some were from Copilot's built-in analysis. GitHub Copilot Code Review can use your standards, your tools, and the system where your real context lives, because the platform team connects them once, and every PR gets that context automatically. The link to the documentation is in the description.